Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast with your host, Cody Jansen.
Welcome to the first ever Digging Deep ATVMX podcast live show. We're here live at RedBud before the national this weekend, and pretty cool to have all these riders together today. We got our featured guests for this first ever live show. They're all brought to you by DID Racing Chain, and man, the four biggest names in ATV motocross in the world joining us here today. These four guys represent the two-time defending champion Quadcross of Nations Team USA riders. Three of them the first year. Jeffrey replaced Joel in year two, and they're going to try to go for the three-peat again this season in a couple months here. So everybody that's here, put your hands together for these four guys, the fastest ATV riders in the world. Chad Wienen, Thomas Brown, Joel Hetrick, Jeffrey Rastrelli, that's Team USA. So I also need to thank our sponsors for making this happen. SSI, Ian at SSI came on huge for us and helped us get all the equipment that we needed for the live show. So thanks to him. Thanks to our title sponsor, CST Tires. They've been behind this project from the very beginning. And also we need to thank DID Racing Chain, Evans Coolant, Forworks Carbon, DP Brakes, 100% Goggles, and Oats Overnight. So thanks to all the sponsors that make it happen for us. And lastly, I need to thank my brother Dallas and my girlfriend Taylor. My girlfriend is the graphic designer for the show. She makes all the cover art and makes the show look more legit than it even is. And my brother, the guy behind all the tech stuff, if you guys see him this weekend here at RedBud, thank him on behalf of the show if you like what we're doing here, because none of this would be possible without him. So with that, I think we should talk some racing, talk some ATV motocross. So we'll talk about the Quadcross event first, kind of year by year, before we talk about current stuff. So whoever wants to take the question, when did Quadcross of Nations first start? When did that become an event? Before maybe even you guys knew about it.
So I have no clue when the event officially started, but it used to be the European Quadcross of Nations. And then now that we have joined, and several other countries from South America and Canada, also from North America, have joined in, and we've...
Looks like 5 years prior to
5 years? Okay, so Chad is before me 5 years prior to this, but I used to pester Chad. I was like, man, how cool would it be if we had like a Quadcross of Nations like every year when the MXDN came up for the bikes. So in time we kept pestering him, and then he found out from Frenchie, Jeremy Warnia, that there is actually a European Quadcross of Nations, and Chad's like, we need to go. So Chad started pestering Harv, because he's our AMA contact, and I started pestering Chad, and just every time I talked to him, I would just hound him, like, man, we need to have this, we need to go. Like, it'd be so cool to go represent the U.S. And I'll let Chad go on from there, because he took the reins from there, and he talked to Harv and got everything set up. But it was kind of like a dream that came true.
Yeah, it was really just like kind of like a 3-year process of just nagging Harv Whipple, which is our AMA referee, and just being persistent with him. And honestly, he's like every year he's like he gets a little bit farther, gets some more information about it, and they're allowing us to come, and we had to figure out what the budget was going to be, and the budget is quite large for us to go over there, and without the support of our ATV motocross community, around the world, really, that helps support us to get there. So it's an awesome opportunity for us, and it's been many years in the works, and we made it 2 years ago, and I think it's gotten not necessarily easier from there, but it's always, every year, it's always something new that we're trying to keep raising our level, there, and also try to provide like opportunities for other riders that'll be coming up, to fill our footsteps, here in the next couple of years, and give them a chance to go over there and support the USA on European soil.
Sure. So yeah, it's a couple year process that it took for you to kind of figure out what you need to do to get there. So talk about how hard, and I know Harv was a part of it, Mark Baldwin was a part of it, but how tough it is to get all your stuff over there. What was the figuring out the logistics like that first year?
Well, since I was kind of new to the whole race, I didn't really hear much of it until Chad and Harv came up to me and kind of introduced the fact of let's go over there and try to get it done. The logistics of everything, it seemed to be extremely hard to get everything over there in a timely fashion, and that's exactly what we're working with right now. Like, we got to have everything prepared so far in advance that our bikes have to be at Baldwin's shop like August 5th. I'm not sure when the container gets shipped out, but these guys might know more. But it's so crucial to be in a timely fashion and have everything marked, and your parts have to be inventoried, and everything has to be dialed in, so it makes the process easier for Baldwin and Sherry and those guys over there at Baldwin Motorsports to get everything shipped over. But it's truly a team effort, and it's definitely tough for everyone.
Sure. Yeah, like that's what I thought. It happened so early.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are in the middle of a championship fight,
Yeah.
and literally brawling with each other, and you're still having to almost work together towards a common goal that's not coming for months.
Yeah.
But it's all on your radar in the middle of the season. Like, it's kind of balancing so much all at once.
That's the different part, is working together at the end of a season when we're all fighting for the same goal. It's like it's tough at the same time, but we work together really well.
That's what I was going to say, or I was going to ask. One of my next questions was, talk about like what it's like to actually work as a team in a sport that is so, all you. It's all you. It's me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're working together to get everything happening ahead of time, and then the event too, right? Like you're not really just worried about yourself at the event either. You're kind of worrying about each other as well, like almost kind of monitoring where the other riders are at.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say probably the coolest thing, it kind of like shows that we work together. Like, not only that, we stay in the same house, we all pit in the same area, but because like we don't all ride at the same time, so there's two of us on the track at a time, and then there's one person watching. The other person watching has a headset and is talking to mechanics, and shoot, like Jeffrey's giving me tips, I'm giving him tips, Chad's giving each other tips. We're all trying to make each other faster this weekend. We're normally like, it's like, all right, I'm going to hide that line and keep it for myself. But no, it's like, hey, did you see that? Like, that is fast. Like, take that. And like, hey, lap one, I'm going to go here. Follow me. Trust me. And it's like, because like we start right behind each other, so it's unique and all get out. And I will say this, like, I think like even Jeffrey could probably add more on this, like, but like I think our team is what, like our team camaraderie. Yeah, camaraderie, and like I think all these guys will agree. But like how we work together is what gets us to the success we have had, and I think that might be what our Dirt Bike USA team lacks when they go over, is that the fact that like how tight we are. And the reason I'm saying Jeffrey is because he didn't go the first year, and for him to step into it like after everything was kind of put together, I think that was like, it had to be a shock to like see and experience that as all one group all of a sudden.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not sure how obviously the first year went, but the track conditions in Denmark were so different, maybe compared to what we're used to, and what I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the game plan was the first year, but we really had to work together at that place in particular because the track was so tight and so rutted and so sandy. It was with the different tire situation and things like that. Because the first year, I feel like you kind of went over and you had your settings. You would ride on hard pack tracks here all the time. You had your settings, you had your tires, you had everything. That side is squared away prior, and it was kind of more just worried about racing. Well, we were worried a lot about setup that year.
So, I mean, we don't have to talk about it in order. You brought up the tire thing. Explain to people what that was like.
It was
because most people were using like a really narrow, tall tire, correct?
Yes, narrow. It was weird. Some people were using really narrow ones and really tall. There's others use a little bit wider, a little bit smaller, but
it's not like our GMCC tire.
No, not even close. It's a more of a not a paddle, but a paddle type. The tread pattern resembles a paddle tire, kind of.
Yep.
You know, to get through that sand, and we were, you know, in a pickle with our sponsors. You know, with the tires they ran, our sponsors didn't make.
Right. You had no choice.
We can't go there and run a different brand tire, you know, of course, and we're running XC tires, and everyone looking at us like, man, those aren't going to work.
Hold up. What about when we went out for qualifying day one, and me and you stayed on 18s, and everybody literally was making fun of us?
Yeah, it was crazy because the first moto, Thomas had a smooth track, so the small ones worked well because it was smooth. Right. Then the sidecars went out, and then I went out, and it was a completely different track. And I was in full I don't know, protection mode to try not to get stuck. I was going across track, coming across the ruts, because I would have got stuck. And I ended up getting second that one, but I think it was because I had to ride so weirdly compared to what everybody else was, because I would have got stuck in the ruts. So we go to, you know, Chad was actually the tester for us because we had a first and a second. The first two in qualifying, so we were in a good position already. And then Chad put on the big tires, and it was just, you know, smooth sailing from there, really, because they worked really well.
Reassured us a little
yeah,
bit.
and well, I honestly think they might have worked better in some ways because they were so wide that they didn't go all the way to the bottom of the ruts.
You were grabbing on the outside of the tire.
Yeah, you're grabbing the sides more. So, you know, those guys are like, oh man, you guys don't know what you're doing. You can't ride sand. You're gonna lose. Yeah. I mean, that was literally what they were telling us. You guys are gonna get smoked.
I was watching Gloop's Rip It Up Films video. And what's the kid that raced over here, like in the 250 class or something? Thompson, maybe was his name?
Yeah.
And he even said, he's like, big tires.
Yeah.
And he was almost like laughing at you guys before the weekend started.
The funniest part of that was after we won, and we were 1 point away from perfect score, and we won. And these guys have never seen anything like that. But like Chad comes off the track and goes in the camera. Yes, we can ride sand because everyone.
I was going to ask
everybody
that. Where did that come from?
We were going to lose. Like, you guys are losing.
I know. Well, and that was another question I had. And I was actually, after episode 1, when I recorded the podcast with Chad, that was one of the things I was super bummed that I missed. Like, people honestly thought you were going to lose.
I mean, Team Ireland literally came to me and said, Ireland's going to win this year. You guys don't have a chance.
After these three guys walked them,
that fired us up. I know it fired me up. I told them, and they're like, okay.
The biggest thing, I think the biggest thing was that we didn't know what to expect until we actually rode it.
Yep.
Yeah. Once we rode it, and I rode that qualifying, I was like, we're gonna be fine.
Yep.
We're on our bigs, and we'll be fine. But up until that point, like when these guys are out doing qualifying, I'm like, man, like. If the sky cars go before us and the motos are going to be longer, it's going to get deeper. Like, if we run our smalls, like, we're going to be in trouble. And, you know, luckily these guys came out and they pulled good scores to get us started. And then we were able to try our setup that we run in the mud here, and, you know, it worked out for us.
So, the track, like, how sandy was it? Is there anything that we ride that's relative to it? Because it's almost like... It was like the way the ruts developed.
But it was not even that. It was sandy, but it wasn't even that. It was sandy. It was the sidecars. Yeah. The sidecars with it being, you know, a dirt bike, you know, and they were going around it as a four-wheeler going around it because they have the sidecar. They go around it straight. They're straight up and down.
Yep.
And I mean, they can go, you know, really deep. And that's what the game changer was. If it was four-wheelers only, I believe we could have ran small tires. Yeah. And if you want to be honest.
So was there sidecars the first year? And it just didn't affect it because of the
hard clay surface there.
Right.
And the ruts even got weird, and that clay was different ruts than we normally see for sure.
Yeah. Sure, yeah. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, what does, and each of you can take it if you want, but what does it mean to you to represent the United States of America? Like, does it ever hit you that it's not even that you're just representing ATVs, American ATV riders, like you're literally wearing the USA emblem.
Yeah.
Like you're representing everybody. I had said to you, Chad, on the podcast that when you're a half a world away and you're literally representing the greatest nation in the world, like what is that like?
It honestly didn't hit me like you said. Like it was kind of late when we got there though, and we saw all the other countries, you know, out there cheering their guys on, and I saw that, and I'm like, wow, this this is a huge deal. I mean, this is no joke. We're racing against 17 other countries, maybe 18, I don't really know, but it's truly an honor to be on the team and obviously selected again. So I'm so pumped to go to Germany and, obviously strive for 3, but it kind of didn't hit me. It hit me late. But
that's what I was curious about.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. It really, for me, it didn't really hit me until I think it was the day, or the night before the race, the night after qualifying. We all go in this big tent and they announce the riders, and it's a tent full of all the riders with flags, with everything, and we walk in there, and it's like, especially because they're telling us, you guys are gonna lose this year. We go in there, and it's kind of like we got a target on our backs. We go in there, and they're just like, they're cheering for us, of course, but it's so weird until they actually race and win it. Especially with the doubt that we had last year, it didn't hit me till the night before a little bit, but when we won, and we were standing on that podium, there was a bunch of people out there, and they were playing the national anthem after we won. That was when I was like, wow, we did this. Especially from being here going there. None of them have to travel that far, do what we had to do to get there, and the time change. With all that, there's
a lot to it.
It's a lot to it compared to what they're over there. They deal with it all the time.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say with me being so amped on this and just following the MXDN and stuff, it was serious for me. I took it very serious going over there and wanted to go. I think the biggest honor you can do as a U.S. citizen is fight for your country and serve. And obviously I haven't done that, and I respect anybody who has served for our country. And the second one would be to represent U.S. in some kind of form or fashion. And that was probably why I harped on it so much to Chad to get this going, is that I wanted to represent U.S. I haven't served our country, and this was not my way of serving, but my way of representing what we can do and do what I can do best. I might not be the best at it, but I know this is what I do best, and I was going to go over there and lay it all out. Both years I went, and plan to do the same this year, is just go over there and prove that we're number one. I want to hold the flag up high and prove that we're number one and that we are the best.
Does it almost do you almost feel pressure because you want to be up to a standard, show them what Americans are like compared to them? I guess
for me, yeah, definitely that's third moto, and I think I got a couple people fired up.
This is year 2?
Year 2, yeah, the third moto, year 2. I come out the start with an okay start, but I should have ripped the whole shot. I was in the front row, Chad was in the back. I had such a bad start that Chad actually came out with me. And I saw the guy leading.
About the nose wheelie? You gotta tell
I came into the corner hot because I had a bad jump, and I was determined right off to go in the corner. I hit this little kicker, and I rode a nose wheelie through the pack in the nose wheelie and came out 4th and 5th.
I thought he was done.
Yeah.
I thought he was just clearing out room for you.
You gotta go watch the video.
I saved it. You saved it for me, right?
I pushed everybody wide, gave Chad a big hold. But then the guy that's been in Chad's motos the whole time, he was definitely the next fastest guy behind us. I see that he's leading, and he's starting to get a little gap, and I'm like, we got to go, and we got to go now. And that's only in my head. It was we got to get to the front. And I should have calmed down a little bit, looking back, hindsight's 20/20. But we're all racers, and I'm like, all right, let's get to the front. Let's get there now. I knew Chad was behind me, so I started pushing, and I hit this kicker. And I guess the other thing was for me is I'll give a little bit of an excuse, and I'll take it, is that I hadn't seen the track rough at all this weekend. I was first qualifier, they prepped before that. I was first moto, they prepped for that. So, my tracks were mild, and this track was nasty. And I hit this kicker, and I almost wrecked lap 2, and lap 3, I'm like, all right, we still need to go for this. And I hit this kicker, and it just shoots my bike sideways. I still don't know what I hit. Me and Chad talked about it several times, what happened? And the whole side of the tracks were raised, and I just went straight in this wall, flipped, and I think it was because I was like, we need to get to the front, and we get front now. We already had it once sitting in 4th and 5th. But for me, I was like, this is a race. We need to win.
Yeah.
And that was me being too antsy. But I think it did come from a little of that pressure. I needed to take a step back. And after I hit the ground, it slowed me down a little bit.
But after that, right, you both were pretty far back.
Yeah,
I fell back.
I think Chad was 4th or 5th.
I was still 4th, and
I was around 15.
I made my way forward,
15.
but
Didn't come back.
Mike, the guy that was leading, like he had a nice gap, and I started chipping away at it. Got it down with like a couple laps to go, and just kept pushing because I didn't want anybody to beat us. We wanted to take every moto that we could, and man, the Argentina guys, they took one moto, so we were like, man, like we want to try to get the rest of them, and fitness felt really good there, so I was really happy with everything there. Everybody was riding really well, and I think Jeffrey rode his tail off he did exactly what he needed to do. Like, we needed consistent scores out of each moto, and you finished second every moto, didn't you?
Yeah, I finished second. The first one behind Jose. I was putting pressure on him big time, and I was taking on so much roost, I backed off, and that's when Thomas went by and broke the chain. And then the second moto, I finished second behind you because Mike actually had a mechanical at the end.
I tried moving him out of the way for you.
Yeah.
Like, I hit him good.
And, Jeffrey having the toughest motos to have that were back-to-back right away, and that was tough for him. But he rode his tail off, and we were really pumped with that. Like kind of going back to the first question about representing your country, like it's kind of like mixed emotions on each one. Like the first year, it really hit me like when we showed up and we did the opening ceremony. The opening ceremony was so cool that first year. Yeah. Like outside, the fireworks, like they did a top-notch opening ceremony.
It was also riding out, like the picture that they used for the podcast.
Yeah. And with us holding the flag and the fireworks, it was just amazing. And then our celebration after the second one was by far like gave me goosebumps because the first one we had to go in a tent and it was downpouring rain. So we didn't get to really get the full experience of like winning and having like the whole crowd, everybody's corralled in there so tight. And the second year is outdoors playing the national anthem in front of everybody, and it just kind of it really hits you. You're like, man, you did something that for our country and our 18 motocross, and just everybody back here. I hope that we made everybody proud, and we're gonna try and get back to Germany and really pour it on again this year and have fun and be safe when we get home.
So, after the first year, like, did you guys feel any difference in the way you were received year one to year two? Like, the first year, was it more like people were embracing you being there, and then the second year was they doubted you, or was?
I mean, I wasn't there the first year, but I feel like for us, I mean, everybody's fans of us.
Yeah.
I feel like we came in, they were like, yes, Americans, okay, and they come in, and I can't wait for you guys to race.
Well, you guys are superstars for that.
Yeah, and then the second year, like I said, it was, we're gonna smoke you. Yeah. That's about how I feel, but I wasn't there the first year. Yeah, that's how it felt.
Yeah, the 2 years, I would say, like, the biggest difference is they were super nice. Everybody wants us there. They're welcoming. Year one, all I heard the whole time from Instagram messages over there, y'all are going to smoke us. You're going to smoke us. This is like, y'all are in a different league. We show up year two, and I'm like, all right, well, we won year one, so they're going to think we're going to smoke them again. No, it was totally different, like Jeffrey said. Like, it's literally, y'all are going to get worked. Y'all are going to get worked. Like, y'all are getting smoked. Like, every way they could say it in every language, they told us that we weren't going to win. And that was the biggest difference. They were still really nice, and they still liked having us there, and there were still lines of people, and, like, you feel like a superstar over there. But, man, the different attitude of the way they wanted to say, like, they thought they were going to win. And I'm like, the crazy part was I was like, year one, we smoked you. Why are all of a sudden you got this confidence? But it had to be the sand, I think, is what gave it to him. But, man, it was
wild.
Yeah, it was crazy, the difference. And that's something like that Joel didn't experience. And I think we're going to get the same experience this year as similar to last year, is that they feel like they have something for us in the sand.
Yeah, so do you think, I don't know how it's determined how they pick tracks. I don't know that. But do you think maybe they picked a sand track because of that? Or I mean...
And that's what they're used to. I mean,
okay.
They seems like they perform better in that, of course. Like
they definitely seemed like to me that they were closer to us.
Yeah, I mean, in Italy, it was insane. When it was dry, we blew them out pretty good.
But it looked like a blast. It looked like
awesome track for me. I loved it. Hard pack, wide open, up and down the hills, and
the first track was sick.
Yeah,
and like you guys, watching you guys like ride with style and stuff like you guys do here, it looked like you were out there with. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but it
Yeah,
looked like you were out there with amateurs. You know, just the way that you guys were
Yeah.
able to ride that track.
We're just so used to that style track, and you know, when they went over for the second time, it wasn't so much the same case. Like, they were able to be a little closer to everyone, and you know, they're phenomenal riders, just the same as us. But we're raising the bar every year, and it's like it's kind of hard for them because they don't have that the speed that, you know, we bring to the table every week.
Yeah, it was incredible to see that first year. And does it show what your reach is when you go there and you have these people that like borderline worship you? It just shows that the platform that you guys are on, I mean, you guys are making waves farther than you guys probably even know.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, it's just, like I said, every year we come back to the Nationals, we're just pushing the fitness-wise, the training, and, you know, the bike setup, the speed on the track. It's elevating so high that, you know, sometimes it's scary to go that fast. Like, Unadilla was insane this year, and that's kind of like Italy was for us. And I'm glad we didn't have to push it, you know, to the envelope. We didn't have, you know, guys on our tail the whole time, because it could have been a dangerous track to do that. It was very, very hard.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's just a lot different for us over here, and for them over there, their style tracks are a lot different.
That first year, you and Joel and Chad had a race where you two were like nose to tail almost the whole time. Talk about like what that was like, because you're halfway across the world and you're not even trying to race each other hard. You're just like trying to freight train for the team.
Yeah. I call baloney on that.
Well,
I think from the outside looking in, they just battled for a championship all year, okay, and then they go to this race and they're 1-2 again, and we're competitors regardless. I mean, you don't want we're on the same team, we're working together, but just that year with battling so closely and so hard together, I feel like he probably should have backed off, but as a competitor, you got to look at it as us. I mean, he wants to win, regardless.
I'll be brutally honest. I wanted to win the moto. But
you know,
I knew at the same time I wasn't going to do nothing to jeopardize the race for both of us. Like, if it was a national, obviously I would have stuck a wheel in somewhere, but I did not do it. I just I took Roos too much, and that was the thing that worried everyone a lot. And you know, I felt like I was kind of darting out of the way, but I get why everyone was upset with the way I rode that moto. But then again, like, we finished the race 1-2. It was, you know, good after that. We all had, you know, our talk and everything smoothed out. But at that time, everyone was a little hot.
Oh, there was drama.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you want to bring it up, yeah, there was a little bit of drama.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing that, you know, would end a friendship, but there was some drama.
So, like, kind of going out, like, the three of us kind of came together. We chatted about it a little bit, and we're like, all right, if we're 1-2, we kind of we let the guy out front go, you know, and you know, we protect our lead, and you know, if we're getting pressure from behind and the other guy's faster, we let him go around and let him try to carry out front and win the moto. And you know, with Joel having that mechanical the first moto, it put us in a tough spot, and we've actually done that 2 years in a row where we had a mechanical
right away. So we're like, man, we got to be perfect the rest of the day to secure, you know, a championship win here. And you know, we came back to the truck, everything was fine. Like, I'm sure you saw in like the film, I'm waving Joel back to get off my tail a little bit, and you know, I understand where he's coming from, because you know, we're competitors, but he's came off a brutal championship, and it's like, man, like this is like deja vu, like, of what we do every single moto here. Like, we're racing against each other, but you know, he did the right thing of, like, you know, settling down and not, you know, pushing an envelope to jeopardize our position and be a team player. You know, he did exactly what he was supposed to do, and you know, for me, like I feel like I'm able to think on the fly very well and like predict, you know, like what I need to do to win motos and win overalls and win championships. And you know, Joel is learning that, you know, today, and it's just like we're competitors. All of us want to win, and you know, that's what it kind of came down to, that moto. But you know, we came back and you know, we didn't get angry. You know, Harv kind of harped on Joel a little bit, and they harped back and forth. But you know, by the end of the day, we all understood of, you know, what was really going on, and you know,
I feel like Joel had that moto win in the first moto, and then he broke, and he's like, man, I want to get some of that. So
yeah. As we were leading, literally I look back, and I think we're almost half track ahead. I'm like, okay, we could probably slow down now.
I think you guys said it was like a minute and a half.
Yeah, it was gnarly, but we were. I mean, I don't know if Chad was going hard, but at some point, like, the bar got raised, and then all of a sudden, like, we were cruising. Like, we weren't just going slow. We were putting down laps.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I was thinking I was asking, like, about an internal struggle of wanting to push, but you weren't. But I didn't know anything about that story. So Joel, talk about how tough was it to miss last year after winning the first year and being with the guys. How tough was it to miss it last year?
I mean, I guess it was tough. Because I really enjoyed being there and for the team and everything, and I wanted to go to be, back to back, everything like that. But at the same time, having, Evelyn be born on that, it was like that Sunday. So at that point, it wasn't tough for me anymore. It was obviously the right decision, and I mean, I had bigger things to do in my life at that point, and I was happy for Jeffrey to take the spot and go over there and do what he had to do.
Thanks,
but
appreciate you.
It was tough. I mean, I really wanted to go.
So does that?
I think you actually get the spot up to me because Jeffrey was killing it at that point of the year.
It's true.
No.
I mean,
You're not going to let me go.
okay.
But I remember like talking with you at Texas, Joel. You're like, man, what should I do? And I'm like, honestly, like your guys' due date is that close, and I'm like, I wouldn't go. And I don't know if that like kind of put you like at ease,
Yeah, when you said it, I was up in the air. I was mixed emotions about going, and I was like, Carly's obviously going to stay at home, but I can maybe still make it. I wouldn't have made it. I mean, I would have missed the birth of my first, child.
Yeah.
So, Chad saying that to me, like, kind of put me into perspective. Like, you need to stay home.
Yeah, with the situation, with the situation Chad had with his child being born while he's on the, I mean, not born, but the water
Going into labor, yeah.
While he was on the track. I mean,
he was a month early, so
it's like you never know. So it's like it's good taking his advice, especially with that situation that he had.
Absolutely. Joel, does it make you that much more pumped to be a part of it this year?
Yeah, it really does. And obviously it's open. Everyone knows the issues I've been having this year. I will be racing a TRX hybrid over there, so hopefully we'll eliminate the little issues I've been having and stay strong for all three motos or two motos for me. But for the team, it would be cool to have a perfect score for 1 year. I know first year we had my mechanical, second year I think was Thomas, and then this year coming up we should just go for gold and do it right.
Even with Thomas's break though, if I would have won,
you still would have had.
I would have won. It was my fault that we didn't get a perfect score. But we were 1 point away from a perfect score, and just to chime in on this, like those guys have never seen a score like that. They were just like mind blowing. Because we got 8. I think it was 8 points and 7's perfect.
Would they end up with like 30 something?
It was just like really high 20s or low 30s. Yeah. The second place score.
I think we could have taken my
mind boggled that.
Could have taken the DNF. Yeah, you could have.
I mean, perfect score. I mean, hopefully that this year they can do that. And I was so upset because I kind of let Jose win that one because I felt like I was taking on too much roost on my bike.
Sure.
It frustrated me that I didn't pass him because there was multiple times where I wanted to, but the risk that Thomas took, I didn't want to take because I knew on that particular track it was going to be so hard to pass cleanly. And Thomas,
this was Moto 2, right?
This was Moto 1. This was Moto 1, me and Thomas. And he actually passed me, and I'm like, dude, go. If you have somewhere where you can pass him, go. And he did, but he took the risk, and I didn't want to take that risk. I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I will say is, I had a little bit of advantage because I started on the second row. We start 2 rows, anybody that hasn't seen it.
Back to back, and your teammates behind you, right?
They don't have to be, but luckily we...
Oh, really?
It's important for us to qualify 1 because I don't want to start behind anybody else. So, as US, we need to qualify 1, so we do take qualifying really serious. But I start on the second row. I come out somewhere on 10th, but I had a pass to get to Jeffrey in second. where he had, you started somewhere in that general area.
I started second right behind Jose, and I tried to make multiple passes, but he shut me off a few times, and it got a little sketchy for me, and I'm like,
I found a few spots where I'd run it in there pretty aggressively, but like I kind of figured out where it worked because like I didn't have the option to stay where I was, and so like it kind of gave me an advantage to get there. And I was getting pretty dirty with the guys. Like after moto, I was like, I told Chad, I'm like, Chad, you want to pass? You're gonna hit them. You have to hit them. And
Thomas was freaking slow.
Yeah.
I wasn't making friends.
No, you went home with no friends.
Like when Thomas came up to people, like he was ready to get around them. Like I like to, I knew that we had a long moto, so I was like, like I'm gonna dissect these guys for a couple turns, and I'm gonna figure something out. I got, a couple turns in the back of my mind that I can pass these guys on. Like I don't know if I made contact with anybody when I passed them when I was there.
Ooh.
But Thomas,
I made it with everybody.
The guy you lapped.
Everybody.
Yeah, that guy. That guy definitely hit me hard, and I was just shocked in my helmet. Like, what was that?
Yeah.
And like he came up after the race, he sincerely apologized, but it's just one of those racing incidents. But I was kind of thrown off, and I'm just sitting there like looking at Mikey, shaking my head like, what was that? Like, what was that?
Oh, I was watching it and I was heated. I made a Facebook post. Probably should have deleted it, but I didn't. I was so mad. I'm like, why would that guy? He just turned, left right into Chad when he's going to lapping him. But if he apologized, maybe it really was an accident. I don't think so, but maybe it was.
And the one time that Thomas did make some good contact there, he got stuck in the ruts, and I really didn't have a choice to go anywhere, to be honest. But what was messed up is if I didn't hit Thomas, that he would have got out of there because he was like, stuck in ruts. And I hit him, and then Hetrick takes off. I'm like,
teamwork. That's
like,
teamwork.
You're welcome, buddy.
Yeah.
I end up passing him, and then he comes back and freaking passes me again.
When there were like 4 or 5 guys in that turn.
Afterwards. Afterwards, because the guy behind me,
everybody.
Well, the guy behind me, they were trying to go around the situation, and it wasn't going to work, because I was able to hit Thomas, and we both got out. And Thomas goes off the track, back on the track, hits those guys, knocks those 2 guys over. I mean, it was like 5 guys in one turn. It was just chaos.
Carnage.
But it was just because the track was so weird, so small. Like, in all honesty, I don't even know.
It was like cut in the ground almost, right? Like it had big ledges on the side.
But it was just like the track was so tiny. Yeah. It was so tight and so rutty. It was so so weird.
Like I hate to say it, but like a backyard track. Like,
that's exactly what I thought was a backyard track because you couldn't even get out of the ruts. Like the rut in the middle of the corner, you couldn't even like square somebody up or.
You were stuck when you got in them ruts just from looking at it.
Yeah, funny story on the sight lap. I mean, everybody's going pretty slow, and like I usually try to wait for everybody to go, but like when we were on that side of the gate, they were like, you go first, and then the way that we line up is how we go out. And I got stuck on the sight lap. I can't remember what moto it was, but everybody's cheering, and I got stuck on the rut. And then the moto comes and went out there and smoked it.
That's what I was saying.
That kind of just made me laugh in my helmet. I'm like, you guys don't know what's coming.
Right? Yeah.
You guys are screwed.
Some extra motivation.
Yeah. I'm trying to check out the track, look at lines, and I was like on top of the ruts, like, and I fell in, and I was like, man.
So are the motos the same length as you guys run here, or what are they?
25 plus 2.
So that's pretty long.
It's gnarly, so it's like anywhere from 28 to 31 minutes.
I think our motos there were 30.
Yeah.
I think when I came across the timer, it was 30 minutes.
And there was a lot of mechanicals.
Yeah, I mean,
there
was a lot of chains breaking.
Yeah, but it was.
Okay, can we tell the story about Harv trying to find the tool to pin the chains together?
Oh yeah,
or find the chains,
like finding chains.
Okay,
yeah.
Tell us that story.
I mean, so like after my chain broke, it was like, all right, well my chain didn't actually break. The master link got knocked off, and Harv made a joke to my old man, 'cause my dad was my mechanic, and he's like, you gotta learn how to put a master link on. Well, everybody knows that there's no way with the master link not on right, I'm going to do 27 minutes. So, like, the master link was on, but the sand was so deep, and the track was, like, we're talking about, these ruts are gnarly, that somehow the dirt knocked the master link off, because the master link was gone, the rest of the chain was good. So we decided at that point we needed to run the riveted master links, like, which I've never ran.
I never
And none of that, so all of a sudden we're like, well, we need these chains. We need these master link chains. And so, first off, I'm like over talking to Frenchie, And then he's talking to guys, and we're just walking around the pits trying to find any chain we can get that has a rivet link on it. And finally, we find a few. And at the same time, Harv is now at the 7S of over there.
Because you need a special tool to.
Well, he's
punch
just
it
buying
together.
all the chains. So now we get all the chains. We had 5 or 6 different chains. I found the ones that they say that they are using, and now we're like
another country.
Another country. So, but now we need a rivet,
Yeah.
and we don't know how to rivet. Eventually, I think it was Paul Windrow came over and, like, for some reason, none of these countries that run these chains have the tool to rivet them. We're like, how do you not have the correct tool to do this? Like, oh, we just use a hammer. Or they just didn't want to give it to us.
Yeah.
But they said they didn't have it. But Paul Windrow comes over, and I think he's from England? UK, yeah. And he comes over, and he's like, all right, I'll help you. And they are literally holding a hammer to one side and a screwdriver to punch the other side and just banging on Chad's chain. Then they come over and do mine because we both switched because we needed these links. Like, if we would have known ahead of time that going into this year, we're going to have these links.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, it was trying to find that tool was nuts.
And was it in the back of your guys' heads? Like, what if this doesn't work out?
Oh,
yeah, because like the chain that they had was, I don't even know what kind of chain it was, but it had like holes through the actual link. And I'm like, you telling me that this thing's stronger than what we're running? And I'm just like, all right, this thing better work. And I'm a good friend with Jeremy Warnia, and he's like, do you trust me? I'm like, yeah. He's like, this is the best chain we have here. I'm like, okay, I trust you, and I mean, it worked.
Yeah, nothing like changing it up when everything's on the line.
Yeah.
What I think was so detrimental to that race too was, like, I think once actually Thomas broke that, I know I did. You had to kind of change your riding style because the track obviously got deeper, but you had to stand up everywhere and put like your pressure on the outside peg for that, and hang off the bike so you wouldn't flip. But I think that helped us a lot in that situation too, because I mean we were so like this that your chain wasn't dragging as much. I feel like you had to stand up for 30 minutes going around that place. There's minute places to sit down. Right. But that's how I know. Like I did, and I know Chad was really good at that, and Thomas was doing it too. But I think that helped that situation.
So, year 3 now is another sand track, right?
That's what we've been told. Germany. I've seen videos. It doesn't look like it did in Denmark, but it is like a sandier base, but it looks like it blows up. But I think the biggest thing that's going to save us is that it's not a tight, quote unquote, backyard track. It's fast sweepers. Because there was one sweeper at Denmark that didn't get too bad. It got really rough and rutted, but it wasn't too deep because it wasn't a tight 180.
Still pretty slow.
And so this track looks a lot faster. So I think the dirt's going to blow out more than just go straight down.
Sure. But let's take a break to hear a word from our sponsors. First and foremost, a huge thank you to CST Tires, CSTTires.com, for coming on as the title sponsor. The Pulse MXR tire, available in soft and standard compounds, offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics. Of the countless riders I've turned on to CST Tires, not a single one has been disappointed. Join the takeover and upgrade to CST today. Thank you, SSI Decals, for your support and presenting sponsorship of the live show. An offshoot of their parent company that was established in 1947, SSI first took shape from owner Ian Harris's passion for ATVs. After making number plates and decals for riders like Chad Wienen, the brand quickly took off. Today, you couldn't imagine ATV motocross without SSI decals. The graphics maker now supports all the top teams in ATV motocross, as well as GNCC, Work Series, Pro Motocross and Supercross, Canadian Pro Motocross, short course off-road trucks, UTVs, snowcross, and NHRA 6-time world champion Clay Milliken. No project is too big or too small for SSI, making your identity stick with championship-level graphics. SSI Decals. Our featured guest is brought to you by DID Racing Chain and their 520 ATV2 X-Ring chain. This patented X-Ring racing chain boasts a steel alloy construction for reduced weight, increased strength, and a longer overall chain life, setting the standard and making it the optimal ATV racing chain. Pick out the ATV2 chain at your local dealer or wherever DID chains are sold. Wherever you go, go DID. We are also supported by Evans Waterless Powersports Coolant. Our Site Lap intro segment is brought to you by Evans. The best powersports coolant on the market, Evans Coolant prevents boil over so you never have to pull over or worry about your engine no matter what the condition. Designed for use in ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles, and more. Use what the pros use. Choose Evans today. The Digging Deep ATVMX podcast is also sponsored by DP Brakes. DP has been dominating the ATV world for a while now by supporting riders like Joel Hetrick, Jeffrey Rastrelli, Nick Janusa, Baldwin Motorsports, JB Racing, Root River, myself, and more in ATV motocross. In GNCC Racing, they have all of the top 15 XC1 pros using DP, including the likes of Walker Fowler, Jared McClure, Chris Borich, Bryson Neal, Cole Richardson, and more, not to mention Hunter Hart and the top 4 XC2 riders. These riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them consistently on the top of the podium. Available at dp-brakes.com, purchase at your local dealer, or even message me for their contact info today. What are you waiting for? Join the best ATV riders in the world on DP Brakes. Forworks Carbon's innovative lightweight products include top-notch seat covers, carbon fiber and plastic hoods, tank covers, exhaust shields, shock guards, and much more. Whether you have an ATV, UTV, or snowmobile, Forworks has goodies that'll make you salivate. I trust Forworks for increased function and a sexier look. Forworks Carbon, always working hard to bring high-quality, innovative parts to the market. Check them out today. Finally, our fan question segment is brought to you by 100% and their new Armega goggle out now. Thanks to those guys for the support and supplying us with awesome 100% giveaways. Not to mention the new goggle that is setting the standard in moto. Now back to the show. And before we move on to other things, a few different times I heard you guys talk about being calculated with what you do, even as racers all the time. But how different is it racing against guys that you don't know their characteristics? You don't even know, maybe like to trust them, right? Yeah, when you're here, the 4 of you, if you're in a race, you know you can be right on the other guy. You know what he's going to do, and you know that he's going to go like your pace. What is it like racing against other people that you don't know what to expect?
You really can't trust them. I mean, when I'm behind these guys, it's no big deal. I mean, I trust them to hit every jump, and when they get in the line, they're going in that line. But over there, they could be on the inside, and all of a sudden they're going to go outside. So at the last second, you got to be really calculated, and you got to be prepared ahead of time in every corner and every jump, because it could cost you your race and get you hurt, and that's not what we want, obviously. So being a little cautious, it's not a bad thing over there. We have such a long race that it would help to do that, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, really don't know, like, their etiquette. Like around here, like for instance, the lapper. I mean, if we come up on a lap rider here, they know the etiquette of, like, running their line and not moving around too much and just stick to where they're gonna go. And I got tagged there pretty hard, but it's just like, I think we're gonna learn a little more every year that we know that there's a bullseye in our back, and we gotta be able to watch our 6, and just I think that's why, like, having the good teammates and be like, hey, giving each other, the things that we see out there, and I think that really just goes along with it.
And it's more than, there's 4 of you. 4 of you have represented us, and it's more than just the 3 riders. Because even as the year goes, right, you hold these clinics, these riding schools, the whole shot thing, and it's not even just you 3 riders. There's more people that are a part of it. It's truly a team effort.
Yeah, I mean, just shout out to Nick Janusa for that. I mean, he does it, and hasn't been on the team yet. He does it willingly to help these guys go over there. And even like me this year, I helped as much as I can. I didn't go to the whole shot clinic or this one at RedBud, but in Walnut, I made the trip up early, from Florida to help there, and it's it takes a lot of effort, at Harv and Brandy and Danica and all these people to put these things together and do that. So shout out to those people that don't really have
and
to.
Cody Ford did that list too.
Yeah. Cody Ford, like, they don't have to do it. Just do it to support Team USA going over there. So
it's a huge deal.
Shout out to them.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to make sure, Jeffrey, that you got credit too, because you represented us last year, but you've been an integral part of it this year as well, even though you weren't chosen.
Yeah, thank you.
So anything else that's notable about Germany or what you know about going forward to that?
I'll jump back real quick, though. I don't mean to
Yeah,
do that,
go ahead.
Chad just mentioned it with the lapper, and then Joel mentioned about getting heated when he wasn't there. I remember in Italy, I think it was Joel was coming up on a lapper, and this guy was just swerving off the track, like blocking Joel. And I remember Brandy had like the FaceTime going, trying to like keep everybody updated here. And I am just yelling and cussing and not being politically correct at all. And I'm yelling in the stands at this guy. I'm like, move! Like he's costing us time. And I was so heated. But like that's how into it we are. And like normally, like if Joel gets held up a little bit, I'm probably a little bit more excited because I'm going to get a little closer. At this point, I am freaking out on this dude. And I'm in the stands, and like everybody could hear it. And I didn't really get too much comments. I was kind of worried about it because I was like, what's his number? I'm going to find it. Like,
it's different. It's like when you watch one of your best friends ride or something, you get your adrenaline gets going because you're watching him. That's like when we're on the team, I'm getting hyped just watching these guys ride. Normally I'm like, okay, you can slow down, you can do whatever, I don't really care. But out there it's like I'm watching every move they make, just praying that they finish the race and win the race.
That's what I was talking about at the beginning, was how much different your mindset is. When it's not just against each other, it's like you're almost cheering for each other.
When Thomas wrecked that third moto, I might have been cursing myself. But it was like at that point in time we had the mechanical, the first one, and he went down. I mean, luckily it was pretty early in the race, so we had plenty of time to get back, and his fitness was really well, and he made that position back, got back to second. But yeah, and what's crazy is too, you got a headset on if you're not on the track, and you're like a pit guy. It's so weird to be like that. Like everybody's talking, you're at one corner of the track, and you're like, yeah, he's you're just like a pit guy, just part of the. I mean, I raced the first two motos, so the third one, it was just weird to be like the pit guy and we sidelined, and it was what was so cool was I think the coolest part was coming off, and like you were saying with being like a team. Of course, I'm good friends with all these guys, even though I want to kick their butt every weekend. I'm still good friends with each and every one of them. I've known them since we were kids. We grew up together, and for them to come off the track going 1-2, and we've won, and it's like you're running up to them like a kid, like you're running up to them like a freaking fan. We're just like and we're all freaking hugging and being all weird and stuff, But it's just like we're so stoked because we did that together, and it was really cool feeling there at the end, to be, we were all just super hyped too. Yeah. I mean, we were just going off screaming USA, USA, It was a really, really cool experience, a really good feeling,
And Joel didn't get that experience. Yeah. The mud moto at the end, calm that down.
Yeah. Like we didn't know what was going on at the end of the moto at Italy, and
you didn't get to finish the moto.
Yeah, I mean we didn't complete the moto, but we were fine with them stopping it there, and we took the win. Just another thing, like there's a lot of people that obviously cheered us on here in the States and around everywhere, but there are a lot of people that came over and made the trip with us that it made it really special. Going around the track and seeing the United States flag being waved and just the fans being in it, like they became like super fans of us, because they see us every weekend, but with the elevated just following from each country and the pride that they carry, like elevated our pride, to go over there and represent, and our fans to go just berserk for us.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see that, and obviously this year we have a lot of people that are planning to make the trip too, so that's very special, and just the supporters, just being out there for us, it's huge.
That's what I was going to say too, is I didn't want to move on to anything else before you guys at least thanked all the people that make it happen, and because the riding schools, the clinics, everything like that, that's a huge part of it, right? For the funding,
the donations, everybody that helps out in any way. I mean, that's huge. I mean, they get something out of it in the riding school wise, which we are very glad to help anybody in the first place. But to come there and to be taught by us and make that donation. It's not like and we don't make any money off this whatsoever.
This is pride.
This is all pride and all just going over to the race. I mean, we don't make any money off of that
Right.
stuff. Just if anybody thinks that we do, we don't. It all goes to the team, and whatever isn't used that year, it goes back into the fund for the next year. So, thanks to everybody for that, to helping me last year and everybody this year to get over there was it's really special and means a lot to us.
Yeah, and kind of add to that, like the riding schools, a lot of people come to help donate and they get benefits of us teaching. But the RedBud one here yesterday got canceled. It didn't get canceled. We couldn't ride, so we just did like a seminar for 4 hours, and we told people like, hey, we won't charge as much or make the donation as much. And most people did the full donation, even though they didn't get to ride, and that was super cool. And that really showed us something, that they're supporting Team USA. They're not here just to try to better themselves, but they want to help support us, and that was cool. When I realized that, I was like, I was pretty pumped.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you would have thought they wanted to obviously ride RedBud's track, but for them to sit there and listen to us talk, and it was pretty awesome that they did that.
That's cool, and I think I speak on behalf of everybody. Like, you're our guys. You just want to do whatever you can to support them, and that's why it's so cool too. Because I swear, at least from afar, the dynamic between the four of you, I know a lot of you are close and you're friends and stuff, but it's that much closer when you're working towards a common goal.
Yeah, for sure. And it was cool for me too. I mean, for us, when we went over there, we went on runs in the morning. Like, everything we were all together all the time.
Is it surreal almost, because you spend the summer racing against each other, and then it's like...
For sure. But like I said, Chad was, first say my mentor when we were growing up, so I've been close with him, and Thomas, I've just been close to him, and Joel, I grew up racing him my whole life, so all these guys to go over there and do that together, I mean, I would do it here, obviously, but when you show up to the race, you look at it differently, but I mean, it's really cool to actually experience it, because we don't do that here. I would, sometimes we do, but to do it over there, like, we was like, all right, let's go on a run. It's 8 o'clock. All right, guys, we'll see you in the morning. We wake up and we eat, and then we go all run together. We're talking, we're BSing, and talking about the race and different things. It's really it's crazy, man.
Well, there's not many sports where you can have the top 4 athletes all together, even willing to do something like this.
Yeah, for sure.
So that event is October 5th and 6th.
Yep.
Correct.
So
I speak on behalf of everybody that you guys sure make us proud. We're definitely, it's an honor to have the 4 of you have represented us, the 3 of you going to represent us. And I hope that we can pull off that 3-peat. I hope that maybe we can notch that perfect score. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
I know we're running short on time, so before I let you guys go, let's spend a couple minutes just talking about the racing that we have going on right now. Talk about, like, the state of ATV motocross. I feel like is in a really good spot right now. At least like rider talent wise. Talk about the pro class. Talk about, like, how impressed are any of you with that rookie class right now? I don't think we haven't seen a rookie class like this in a long time.
No.
And to add that to the class
Yeah.
of you guys, and I mean, maybe none of them are on your guys' level yet, but they're closer than the other classes have been.
Oh yeah, they're definitely, I don't know, shining bright this year. It's like, it's pretty surreal. One of them lives with me, Brandon Hogue, and he got his first podium at Unadilla, and Cody got his at Walnut, but it hasn't happened in a long time that rookies have made the podium. So it's actually showing, it's going to be, I don't know, upbringing of new talent that could be fighting for the wins and the podium spots every weekend. And they're like me. I learned so much after my first podium, and I got one my rookie year. I was fortunate enough to do that, but it just, you grow from that, and when you get that taste, you're like, okay, here we go. It's going to change these guys, and I think it's going to really elevate the sport even more. I'm super pumped for them.
It's not even like rookies that have made the podium. I mean, like, it doesn't even necessarily mean rookies in general. I mean, nobody. I mean, I feel like it's been pretty much us 4 for...
Yeah.
Going back to Ronnie, that's what I heard from
Okay,
Ford.
yeah.
Ronnie, going back to
Ronnie made that a high point,
Ford.
but other than that, I think it's been just us 4 the past. I mean, I know since 2016. I know for me,
we've shared the podium almost every
we
time
shared
with
the podium
us
almost
4.
every time between us 4, regardless.
Yep.
Other than Ronnie and then Cody and Brandon. So I mean, it is really cool to see. I mean, even though I got beat, I mean, I wasn't happy about, but it is good to to see.
It's good for the sport.
For uprising of somebody else other than us. For fans especially. I mean, nobody, regardless, wants to see the same person win or get second every time. No offense to either one of these guys, of course, or even me get third or Thomas get third. They don't want to see that. They want to see different people. They want people mixing in there. So I think it was definitely good for the sport and good to see. And I'm looking forward to the future for sure.
Yeah. Joel and Chad, we know about the championship battle there. We don't got to get into any of that. Just, I'd like to hear from each of you about what it's like racing against the other guy, because you guys are so close in so many races. I got to believe that there's a huge amount of respect there.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is, and Joel he's got some serious speed, and he's got the endurance figured out, and he's starting to get a lot smarter. I mean, he's won his first championship in 17, and last year it could have very well been number 2 for him, but he had some mechanical failure that really hindered him at the end of the year, and that's been my recipe for me. Having success and winning championships has been consistency, and obviously I got to pick my times on when I got to go and pick it up and lay it on the line, and other times that I just got to lay back and I gotta be smart, and just collect my points and add them up at the end of the year and see where I lay out. But definitely this year, like Joel's had some mechanicals that kept him out of races, and it's just like you don't know what it could have been, but I know where we're at here in the present, and I feel like I know what I got to do every single race from here on out to secure a championship. But I mean, we have these guys all hungry here at this table, and others that are ready to try to take points from me. So, I got to be on my game every single weekend and just ride clean laps. And I feel like this weekend with the track conditions, I feel like this is right in my wheelhouse. And obviously, I'm gonna have to clip some good starts and ride clean laps. And the heat's going to be a factor this weekend, and not usually heat's always my friend, so I got to be able to hydrate well and kind of pick my moments when I'm exerting my energy and when I'm holding back. So I'm just be smart with that. And Joel is he knows one speed, and that's go. So I mean,
thanks.
And that's kind of the difference between him and I.
Yeah, there is a major difference, like you said. I'm, full out every time I go on the track. And, I've learned over the years, like you said, to be more patient with racing. And at the start in 2015, I got a little taste of what it felt like to be up there with Chad and battle for moto wins. And I was still at that point, like, I wasn't patient enough, and I would make mistakes that I would lose the motos. So after that, I had a crash in 16, took me out, still won a bunch of races, and, had really good finishes. But 17 wasn't, until the year it was dry. I had, obviously no issues, and we had a brutal championship that we raced every weekend back and forth, and there was really no letting up until the end, because obviously anything can happen. 18, I had the mechanical at the last race of the year that, it hindered me for the championship, and you can't take anything away from Chad. He obviously is that consistent that he put himself in the position, if there was something that happened, that he was going to be there to take that spot away. So there's a couple people that I've heard that he didn't deserve that, which I don't agree with that. I'll sit here and tell you that he put himself there on purpose. Like, he didn't just I'm done. Joel's got a 10-point lead at this point. I'm just going to stop trying hard. No, he was there. He's always been there, and it took me a while to get up into that position. But now, like you said, I figured it out. My endurance is strong, and, I feel good in the heat. I've had really good finishes when it's just the brutal temperatures. And, like this track, I walked it after practice. It's gnarly. And I know, first thing I thought about, Chad's in front of me, and I'm like, he's just laughing in his head, eating this up, Like, this is his track. But I feel good in temperatures. So that's where I feel like I can maybe hold a pace. Might not be as fast as his, but I can hold it, the entire race. And that's what I'm going to plan for tomorrow, and obviously race my hardest and try to get another top spot finish. But right now for me, I'm 22 points down, so there's not much I can do other than race each race and do my best. I'm not really focused on a championship. The stress was taken off after Sunset Ridge. I had a mechanical there. I was doing good. I was winning motos and picking up points, but it still was a long shot. I still had some hope, though. But after that, it was like, just have fun, race, and what comes natural, and do what I can do.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch those races. And Thomas, I've been on the podcast every week talking about this is the strongest year you've ever had, in my opinion, from afar. You won an overall in Texas, which you've done before, but then there's been a lot of other races where you've been right with those other two, more closer and more often than years previous.
Yeah, for sure. I've felt awesome this year. Been working hard, and I don't want to go out there and get third. I still want to win races. I am honored to get third anytime I do. These are the best ATV races in the world, but it has been good. It's funny there's been some motos. Texas win was awesome. Winning the whole town. There's nothing like that. And I've had good success in the mud. But I look back to even Muddy Creek, which is not my track at all. And Chad and Joel were in a battle, and I was right there. I actually kept them like was keeping them honest for majority of the moto. And then we've had some mechanicals these past couple tracks, and even before that, Unadilla, which is also not another one of my tracks, and I battled with Chad for a long time. Joel had a lead. Dude's nuts there, but me and Chad had a good battle, and I've been stoked on this year trying to get up to these two. I know Jeffrey's goal is to get up here with them too, and man, I'm ready to do it. I want to do it. I'm excited. I hope this weekend I can do it. I normally like the heat. I like rough tracks. Last year, I won here, but the first moto, second moto, kind of put me in perspective. Is I was more happy with my moto 1 and 3rd last year here because I actually ran with Chad and Joel and kind of the same thing. I kept them honest. I wasn't about to pass them, but it was closer than I've been all year. In the next moto, mud moto, I don't hole shot. Jeffrey hole shots. I just bomb through some water and get him. His bike bobbles, and I'm able to get into first. And I win the moto, get the overall. Amazing. But everybody's like, oh, you have to be so stoked. And I'm like, I'm more stoked about that first moto actually keeping pace with those two because it's not to anybody's surprise. Those two are the best, hands down, and they are what do. And man, like I said, I'm stoked in this year. I've had some mechanicals these last two. It's kind of kept me out from really seeing what else I can do when we're getting to some of these better tracks. I'm hoping for 2 good motos tomorrow and see where the cars fall. But I know I'm going to lay it out there every time I hit the track, and I want to go up and I want to race these guys. I want to battle with them. I want to have a battle up front. Me and Jeffrey talked about several times, let's get up there. Let's do it. And I'm like, man, I want to hole shot and battle with these guys. So that's, I'm hoping we can make that happen in these final few races.
Yeah, like I said, I've went on record a bunch talking about how strong of a season you've had. It's been really impressive. And lastly, before we split, I wanted to ask Jeffrey about his season, and then I read some news yesterday on his social media account. So, Jeffrey, tell us about your season and kind of where you're at right now in the news and all that that concerns your season right now.
I mean, it started off strong, of course. Been in second in Daytona was awesome. I mean, Joel obviously kicked our butt there, but I was trying to keep pace with Chad, and an unlikely mistake from him. He went over a berm, and I inherited second and was able to finish there. And I think Texas, I had a absolutely terrible start in the mud. I was dead last coming around. I ended up 5th the first moto or whatever, and I got third. I actually passed the second moto. I got third. I actually passed Joel going down the last lap down the whoop section right before the finish. I got him because his bike was running bad, and I ended up finishing 4th there, and then he had the mechanical and Ironman, and I got second there. I felt awesome there, and I actually the first moto I started 5th or so. I think Thomas was right there, or actually Thomas started in front of me, and I actually got Thomas, and was by the time I got up there, me and Thomas got up there, that Chad and Joel were gone. I rode a good moto, and he had Joel on a mechanical again, and the second moto, it was a mud moto, and I got second on the start, and I was so hungry that day because I felt so good on that track, and I actually tried to make a pass on Chad, and I almost had it. I passed Thomas in the same spot. I almost passed Chad, and this is a funny story. So I hit him, but Chad was expecting it and powered out. So when I hit him, he kept going and actually got in front of me, and he had 2 pair of goggles on. So we're going down the straightaway right before the big like single table, the triple, whatever you want to call it now. He looks back at me, and his goggles are out here. And he's like, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
Who is this hitting me? He's like, where'd you get that drive from? And it was just so funny to me seeing him because he still had the second pair on. Like, he didn't rip them off after the start, but I ended up finishing second there, and I rode a good race at south of the border, and these guys, I battled with them both motos hard. And at that point, I was only 10 points behind Chad in the championship, so going there, I was hungry again, and I felt really good those motos and fatigued a little bit at the end. But ever since then, I've really been struggling with fatigue-wise, and we're not really sure what it is, but I'm having blood tests taken and things like that to figure out the problem. But it's just I don't know. We don't know. It's just been super hard for me to even go out and about, you say 12 minutes in, 13 minutes in, I'm depleted. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm fatigued physically, and then you're mentally once you fatigue physically, mentally you start going away because you're in protection mode. So and I was lucky at Walnut that it was a mutter, the first one, and I actually had the lead. I got the whole shot, and I made a mistake that was literally 6 inches. I was 6 inches, and it pulled me off the track, and I threw that win away. And then the second one, I felt well, and ever since that day, and is it mental? And I could say no, but I mean, it's always there, but it's something physically is definitely wrong with me. I'm not sure what it is, and I'm just trying to figure it out. And it's been a real struggle, man. It's been a real struggle to show up, and even at Unadilla, to be fatigued that early in the moto and be able to not get beat by the 2 best guys in the world by that much, considering how bad I felt. I just every time it's like, what if I actually felt 150%? Like these guys, they show up on the line, they feel awesome, they ready to rip. I mean, it's their fitness is not an issue, and it shouldn't be for me because I mean, I train with Joel. I mean, I train with anybody. I'm on the same training program as Joel here, and the dude's an animal.
Thank you.
I should be that way too, but I don't know. We don't know. We're trying to figure it out, and we have a few things in mind, but it's not a for sure thing. I'm not going to state something that isn't true as of right now. But it's really been. I felt depleted the past few weeks, really bad. It's getting worse, and for 3 weeks we got 18 days, and I rode 4. I try to ride, and I don't feel good. So I'm just hoping that me kind of recovering from a little bit and not riding as much and not training as much, and I hope tomorrow that I can do what I need to do, of course. And how I feel right now, I feel like I can, but you never know until you actually get on the machine, of course.
Yeah, I wanted you to have an avenue to be able to talk about it because you haven't been able to be yourself, and it's clear.
Yeah, and like you said on the episode 3, I think it is, it's been a click off, and I agree. Like, I've been fast all year in underground. At first say, like, me and Joel were battling for the qualifier. Like, and he's thinking he's battling with Chad in this thing. We're duking it out. I mean, we are rolling. And he's like, I pull off the track. I'm like, it's game on. Like, I mean, it's game on today. I felt that way in the beginning of the season, and something just turned when we went left, and I don't know where, and I haven't changed anything, so it's not, in that aspect of things. So I'm, I battled, even in motos beforehand, and like at south of the border, we had 2 grueling motos between me, Thomas, and Chad. I mean, it was an all-out brawl. I mean, we were duking it out, and I was the leader, which was the worst part. Feeling that heat for those 22 minutes, and I don't know, man. I just really hope that I could get this figured out, and of course, people can think that I'm not training or not riding enough or whatever, and I give it 150% every time I go out there, regardless. There's no excuses here. If I like a Unadilla, I got tired. I mean, it's plain and simple. I'm not gonna beat around the bush and say, well, if this, if that, if no, it doesn't matter. what ifs. I should be able to control it, So I thank you for allowing me to kind of express myself. I don't really want to get into detail, but it's been a struggle and hope to get it solved.
We're pulling for you. We want you to be able to get back to where you belong.
Yeah, thank you. I really like to battle these guys for sure. Make it a 4-way, which could very well happen, especially how Thomas is riding and my speed's there, qualifying and things like that. Just the longer moto is really tearing me down. So.
Well, like I said, we're pulling for you. Let me thank the show sponsors quick. Again, SSI helped us bring this show together. CST Tires has been the title sponsor of the show from the beginning. DID, Evans, Forworks, DP, 100%, and Oats Overnight. Everybody that's here, give these guys a hand. Chad Wienen, Thomas Brown, Joel Hetrick, Jeffrey Rastrelli, that's Team USA, and man, they sure make us proud. So definitely proud that these guys are representing us, and thanks everybody that listened live or watched live. Thanks for the people that came and hung out with us, and until next time, I just can't thank you guys enough for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Cody, and thank everybody tuning in, and the people that were here or are here now. We really appreciate you guys stopping by and hearing from us. It's kind of crazy. I don't think I'm not saying it won't ever happen again, but when have you ever had us 3 or us 4 up here talking together? So it's really cool.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for having us, and thank you for doing your podcast. I think it's something the sport needed.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Cody.
And thanks, man. Just everything that these guys said, and everybody coming out and representing, and very cool you're doing it. Keep it up.
RedBud.
Thanks, guys.